Hello and welcome to the Magician with a Microphone podcast. I am your host, Chris Langle of Chris Langle Magic. And yeah, it's been a minute since I've done a podcast. I've been relatively busy for reasons that I'd rather not get into that don't involve shows. Unfortunately, my time has just been taken up, and I'm tired as a motherfucker. So, like, when I'm sitting in here in the gallery, I like to just stare off into space. I'll be completely honest with you. So it's like, I'll listen to podcasts, I'll catch up with podcasts, but I don't feel like recording for some reason, But I'm going to record now because why not? I haven't done it in a minute and it's like, oh well. I'll talk a little wrestling. We'll talk a little bit about my upcoming shows, about the tour that I've got going on, about my America's Got Talent audition, a couple of things I want to, catch up on. First and foremost, let's actually start out with that America's Got Talent audition. I auditioned for America's Got Talent last Friday. No, last Saturday. And, November 13th, ironically, the day I declare myself as an official business, an official, like when I first started doing magic, it's the day that I've declared for my official start. It was also the day that my grandfather had passed away. My grandfather on my mom's side, who, for those of you who don't know my little background, I'll get into it very, very quickly. My grandfather was the first person I ever showed a card trick to that worked, which is why my favorite card is the Nine of Hearts. My grandfather was really sick. He had cancer. There's my voice again. I really got to start wearing a fucking gas mask when I'm painting guitars. I really am starting to think that my lungs are getting affected by all the paint that I inhale. But, hey, who fucking cares? I like the smell of it. Yep. That'll do it. Anyway, so my grandfather really liked my magic, and he told me, if it's something that you want to do, to pursue it. And, my grandfather was always one where, he was always hands-on. He was always trying to find new things to do. And he had his hobbies, and he made things work. And he was also very, very determined. He was in the Army. He was a World War II veteran. Him and my cousin ran many, many auto body shops. I mean, he was a car enthusiast. He was a woodworker, a cabinet maker, and, it's just... He made the things that he was good at work for him, and eventually he made them into jobs. So when he told me to pursue magic, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So I've been doing it ever since. But I do it in his memory. So I just found it a little ironic that 15 years since he passed away is my America's Got Talent audition. Who knows? Maybe that's a curse. Maybe that's a blessing. I have no idea. The trick that I auditioned with, because there's actually two auditions. I only auditioned for the producers of the show. And if they like it, then you get to audition for the judges. You get to actually be on TV. And I auditioned with my guitar book, where I pull the guitar out of the book. And unfortunately, it was a virtual audition, but it was the only thing I can think of that would look good, that didn't really need too much audience participation, because if I was going to do a card trick, it would have just been it would have been something else. It would have been a whole deal. I would have had to have an assistant. It would have looked set up, basically. So I figured that with the trick that I did, it looks good. It's visual. It's a strong trick. And, yeah. It's something that I can do virtually. So I did that, and hopefully I hear back from them soon. That'd be really nice. So let's see, what else? And I got a really cool thing for Instagram that says I auditioned. Some people may have seen that already. So shows have been going very well. Been doing a couple of private events. Finally got paid by Lake Compounds, but that money came and went instantly because I owed a lot of people a lot of money. Lake Compounds, the whole ordeal with Lake Compounds. So I did the shows there. every Saturday and Sunday throughout October, and I wasn't receiving a single check. And I'm talking like I was waiting very patiently. And, I was like, man, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's a busy time of year. And maybe it's just a little late. And then I went to their office and like, hey, where the hell's my money? Oh, it's in the mail. It's on the way. Perfect. Awesome. To be here before Halloween. Halloween comes, nothing at all. So I'm waiting and I'm waiting and waiting. And I'm like getting pissed. Like every week I'm like waiting for the check. Every day I'm looking through the mail. Like, where the fuck is my money? So finally, I emailed the entertainment company that owns Lake Compounds. And I said, I've got a very good team of lawyers, and you guys have exactly a week to respond to me, or I'm sending my lawyers after you. Within a week, I got full payment. But the problem with that is because I was owed, because I had to wait so long for the checks, I actually had to ask people for money, just, so that way I can pay off some bills and get certain things taken care of. And, I get the check, and the first thing I do is I make sure everybody was paid back. So had to cancel my insurance because of that too, which sucks because like as much as I hated to do it, I kind of made up an excuse for the insurance company. Like, hey, yeah, I mailed out the check, which I did mail out a check, but unfortunately it was, I had a feeling that if they had gotten it, it was going to bounce. Because look, let's face it, I was hoping to get the money by the month of October. So the check that I did send out, which, ironically, I cancel my insurance, and then 2 days later, the check comes back as, because I had to call in and cancel it and, get it sent back and everything. Ironically, 2 days later, that check comes in. So it's like, fuck. But I have a feeling it was going to bounce because I was really honestly expecting for for my money from the lake to come in. So that way, by the time the insurance company got the check, it would go, but it didn't. So, now I got to pay that off. But it's one of those things where, hey, look, hey, you finally got your money. Now go and get rid of it. It's not yours anymore. It's other people's. Awesome. But with that being said, with all of that ranting being said, I actually do hope that they hire me again next season because it is a very good gig. Because the people that are at the lake are very nice. The people that are that I perform for. I only had one incident with anyone there. And there were these two girls that were sitting in the very front row of my show, and they were just being consistently rude. Interrupting my show. They were, screaming at me. Like they would try to stand up and block everybody's view from the tricks. They were starting to give stuff away because they had seen the show before. I finally had to stop my show because I could see that parents were getting visually pissed because their kids are complaining, and these kids that are causing all of the disruptions, their parents weren't around. So I'm like, shit, all right, what do I do? So I had to stop the show, and I kicked him out. That is the only issue that I had with anybody at the park. Otherwise, everybody there was just really cool. It's like everybody that came in just wanted to be there, Met some really, really awesome people, people and circumstances that, I really enjoyed. And for example, I got to perform for the news. I got to meet a couple of business owners from the Hartford area. I met somebody from Travelers, and I got to do a show for Travelers over the last week. So, the people that I met there were phenomenal. I'm so grateful. That's the word I've been using, is grateful, that to describe it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I was given by Lake Compounds. Am I pissed off about the whole money situation? Yes, but the experience is something that balances it out, and I really hope they bring me back. So if anybody from Lake Compounds is hearing this, we're good. I forgive you. Pay me on time next time. And I won't be ranting on you about you to a podcast that 4 people listen to. But out of Lake Compounds, I got side gigs off it. Birthday parties. I got the thing with Travelers. I got a couple of festivals that are coming up in the early springtime I'll be doing. And then, hopefully if Compounds hires me, because I guess they are in the process of doing a little bit of a renovation for their staff and everything. Some people finally decided to retire after a long time. Some people, are no longer in the positions that they're in. So once that gets settled and everything is good to go, then most likely they're going to have me come back. Because let's face it, I put used to a stage that the employees were saying hadn't been used in like 10 years. So that's a good thing. And plus, I really like it, and the money would be really good. Like, the money would be really, really good. Not going to discuss that right now, though. So, the side gigs basically set me for the winter, which is great. I've got plenty to do this winter. I've got plenty of, close-up gigs. I'm doing some Christmas shows, or no, not really shows, but like doing Christmas parties. I've got a New Year's Day event that I'm doing, which is going to be pretty cool. I've got, let's see. What else do I have? I have got a couple of festivals. I'm going to be doing some trade shows coming up in like the next maybe month or so. So that's really exciting, and I'm very happy that I was able to get these things, because this is going to be the first winter I've had in maybe 4 or 5 years where I've actually been very busy. I don't really like to count last year because, let's face it, couldn't do anything last year. The year before that was mainly because my tour fell through. Otherwise, I'm excited. Can't complain. And I think that this is going to be an overall great winter. That will eventually lead into the summertime, which is going to bring me back to lake compounds, and hopefully it just becomes a vicious circle. I would love for that to be like my performing schedule. Do springtime festivals, craft events in the springtime. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, do lake compounds. Hopefully through October, do lake compounds, and then for the wintertime, go on tour. Because that's what I'm doing this year. Well, next year. Technically, I'm setting it this year. And then next year for November, December, and January, I will be on tour. I will be doing theater shows, kind of like what I did back in 2018. Actually, I'm revisiting a lot of the theaters that I did in 2018. I was supposed to do a tour in 2019. That ended up falling through. I guess you could say I did a tour, because I only did like 5 or 6 theater shows out of the 15 or 16 that I had booked. And then I decided to rebook that for 2020. I had 25 theater shows set, ready to go, all different cities. I was going to travel. I was finally going to get on a plane, and then COVID hit, and I had to cancel all that. So now what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to the theaters that I had to cancel, seeing which ones are still open, because believe it or not, a few of them closed down permanently, which I'm actually really sad about. And I'm basically going to combine the 2018 tour with the 2020 tour that I was supposed to do, and hopefully that keeps me busy for the entire winter of 2022. Right now, the confirmed cities, I'm going back to the Bijou. That's going to be December 3rd. November 5th, I'm going to be at the Hooker Dunham Theater in Brattleboro. We're working on a date for the Marilyn Rodman Performing Arts Center up in Foxborough. I'm talking to a place in Chicago called the Mercury Cabaret, which I'm excited if I'm able to go out there. That'd be really nice. I've completely cut all ties to Myrtle Beach off of my list. I'm never going back there again. I'm probably going to hit Florida, because there's 2 theaters down there that I have an in with, and it's like, one of them we had booked for 2020, but the other one, they're jerking me around, and it's like, all right, pick a day, let me come in, stop beating around the bush. Could you want me or not? You know what I mean? It's one of those instances. So there's that. I'm looking at Rhode Island again, because I like Rhode Island. It's a beautiful state, and especially, I love the shore. Probably Newport, depending on if they build. I guess the theater that I was talking to actually got some Hurricane Ida damage, so they're working on rebuilding that. So hopefully that ends up working out. Now, let's see, where else do I want? Ideally, I would like to go to Vegas I would like to perform in Las Vegas. I would like to go to maybe Arizona, maybe Salt Lake City. I think would be a good city to go to. Maybe Denver. I heard Denver is nice. I heard it's really cold though. St. Louis. I would like to perform in St. Louis. That's a city I would like to go to. Virginia Beach would be nice. Maybe Baltimore. I gotta hit up Baltimore again. There was a theater I was supposed to do there. Baltimore would be nice though. And then probably Philly. I've never been to Philly. I would like to go to Philly. So ideally that would be a good tour for me, but right now confirmed it's Bridgeport, Brattleboro, and hopefully by the end of the week Foxborough. And then I might have a couple of other Connecticut dates on there as well. So if you're going to be around in 2022, if you're interested now and you want to like reserve a couple of tickets, information will be up very soon. Hoping to get everything booked by the end of the year. So, and then we'll have a 2022 Magic of Chris Langle tour that I'll be doing. So, and I was thinking about it the other day because my friend Alex I was hanging out with him and he got back with his girlfriend. So I'm very happy for him. But it made me realize, like, usually it's for my tours, it's me, my friend Alex, and his brother Anthony, who's also another really, really good friend of mine. And, like, we just go out and we have a fucking blast, going to all of these cities and doing these shows and stuff, and it's like, yeah, they're driving and everything, but I still pay them, But, like, I was thinking about it the other day. When I was doing the tour in 2018, even though it was only like 4 cities, because I wanted to, see if it would work, it was legitimately like one of the best times of my life. I loved the promotion. I loved the tour life where it's like, yeah, guess what? We're going to go, I'm going to sleep over your place. We're going to wake up early. We're going to hit Ami's Bagels and Waterbury because they got the best bagels in the fucking world. They're better than New York bagels. We'd hit a place right around the corner from there called Brooklyn Bakery, which donuts to die for. And then we would head out, hit the road, get up to the theaters early, set up. When the show's all set up, go out and hang out. Like when we went to Foxborough the first time, we all went to Patriots Place. And me being a Packers fan, I found it funny how I went over and did magic tricks for the people at the ticket booth to like get into the Patriots Hall. And they let us in for free. And I was laughing in the elevator. I was like, it takes a Patriots fan or a Packers fan to get a whole bunch of Patriots fans into their own hall, huh? So, but it was a really cool experience, We hit some damn good restaurants. Like, we're all car guys, so it's like we saw a whole bunch of nice cars up there. I loved it. And then we did the same thing for Providence, and it's like, we hit the mall at Providence, which is a big fucking mall. Hit a couple of the places around there, but, did the same thing for the Bijou, did the same thing for Brattleboro. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fucking fun. And it's like, I really, really enjoy it. Like, really, really enjoyed it. I think it was one of the best experiences I ever had. Next to the promotion, the first Bijou show I did. Which, to this day, to me, is the second best theater show I ever did. The best, in my opinion, the best theater show I ever did was the first one in Foxborough. That, to me, it was flawed. There was literally no mistakes. Cues were on, lighting was on, none of the tricks went wrong. To me, it was a perfect show. The crowd sucked. The crowds for my shows always suck. Which is why I started to not get my hopes up for, large crowds. I tell everyone, 50 people is a treat for me. If more than 50 people show up to my show, I consider that a win. Otherwise, I don't expect people to show. Because, let's face it, I can't draw crowds. which is also why I started going to smaller venues, cabaret theaters, small black boxes, stuff where you can fit 75 to 100 people at most in there. So it's like, shit, if I don't fill up, if I get 50 people, that's half the theater, So that works. But I don't know. I mean, the first Bijou show I did, we had I think it was all but 5 people. No, that was the first, that was the second Foxborough show. The Foxborough show that I did where I went up there by myself, and I actually have a funny story about that, because I took Amtrak up there. But the first Foxborough show I did, no, what the hell am I saying? The second Foxborough show. The first one I did was with Aunt and Alex. The second one I did was alone. We technically sold that show out, but 5 people didn't show up. So there were like 400 and, I think it's a 410 seat theater. I think 405 showed up. Which, hey, I'm not going to complain about that, But, and it's cool too, because I actually have a picture that I took of the audience, like right before the show started. And I was like, holy shit, it's the only time I'll ever sell out a theater. And I don't even know how the hell I sold it out. I mean, I have an idea of how I did, but, I don't really think it counts. A lot of the people there were there to see the opening act that I had, because there was this kid. So, let me backtrack. Let me take a sip of my Arnold Palmer Southern Style Sweet Tea and Pink Lemonade. That is the best stuff they have on the market. Anyway, let me backtrack to the very beginning of that. That was the year where, like, my entire crew, decided, yeah, we're not going with him. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go up there to Foxborough, I get an Amtrak, I shipped up to Boston, we'll say, and I'm on the Amtrak car, and I didn't realize I picked the quiet car, all right? And I go up, and I call the theater when I'm about a half hour out from Boston. And Bob picks up the phone. Bob is one of the head honchos there. Very, very cool guy. And I'm like, hey, Bob, it's Chris Langle. How you doing? He's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, look, I got a whole bunch of shit with me. I got 2 suitcases. I'm going to be coming in from Boston. Could I leave the stuff at the theater so that way I don't have to worry about it? He's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome, And I'm like, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And then this woman, as soon as I say I'm looking forward to tomorrow, this woman comes up to me. She looks at me, she goes, sir, you're in the quiet car. Really, really, she was a Karen, basically. Really, really snarky. So I'm like, sorry about that. Bob, I gotta go. I'll call you when I get to Foxborough. Hung up. All of a sudden, I would say about 30 minutes later, just as we're approaching, I think it was the station right before Boston, I hear a sneeze. It's the woman who came over to me. I get up, put my stuff down, I walk over to her, I go, ma'am, this is the quiet car. And she gave me the dirtiest look. You know what? I don't give a fuck. She was a bitch to me, I'm going to be a bitch to you. So, karma's a bitch. And it came around to her. But I told that story when I was on the stage in Foxborough, and people were just laughing. But, so, the night before my show, because my show was a Sunday, the night before that was a talent show it was like a town-wide talent show that they were doing. And I got to close it. So I went and I did my floating carpet routine. Brought a kid up on stage and I floated him. So, then the crowd goes fucking wild. And I'm like, look, if you guys like this, come see my show tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. And I think that's where a lot of the people came from, was from that show, because they wanted to see more. And there was a little kid there named Griffin. Never forget this kid. His name was Griffin, and he was a little 7-year-old. I think it was 7. 7-year-old kid who was a comedian, and he wore a bright green tuxedo. And he was actually really funny. I don't remember the jokes he was telling, but he was really fucking funny. I went up to his parents afterwards, and I'm like, your kid is really good. And they go, oh, thank you. And I'm like, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And they're like, oh, we don't know yet. I'm like, well, I want your son to open my show. And their eyes got big. They're like, oh my God, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I want him to open my show. So he comes in the next day. I told him to wear that green suit again. I didn't care if it was dirty. I was like, that's fucking hysterical. So they come in, and then a news outlet comes in. They did a story about him. And of course, I'm taking the credit for it because, hey, it's my show, because I'm a snarky asshole. But then, the media came in, and all these people came in, and it's like, that right there got a whole bunch of publicity, which I was really happy about. And then it turns out that night, the night of the comedy show, there's people coming up to me asking me for the, for tickets, everything. I'm like, I'm telling them the link, or you can get it at the door. And they're like, cool, bet, we'll do that. So the first show of that Sunday was I forget what it was, some sort of movie type thing that they were doing, an independent production type thing. Which it's funny, I was running popcorn for it. I was selling popcorn at the concession stand, and nobody realized, because I'm plugging the show, and nobody realized that it's me doing the show. They thought I just worked there. But we had a bunch of people come in after the first show, coming in and buying tickets to my show, and I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. And again, they don't realize that it's me selling the tickets, because I wasn't in character, right? I wasn't in my, clothing and everything like that. I was wearing a hat. I was wearing a sweatshirt and everything like this. So they didn't know it was me. So that night, the crowd comes in. I'm blown away because I'm meditating in the basement. I'm looking around and, checking everything out. When I go into the basement, I meditate. And the little kid, Griffin, comes up to me. He goes, Chris, there's a lot of people here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm thinking maybe there's 100 people. And I go and I look out the curtain and I see, I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of people. And that's when I got that picture. So that was a fun show, though, man. One of the best shows I ever did, except for the part where I did the floating carpet and the thing that hides the gimmick exposed itself. Fell right the fuck over. But I hope that with the routine that I have to it now, that doesn't happen again. I don't think it will. I don't think it can, technically. So, but yeah. I'm really excited for this upcoming tour I've got in 2022. Look, let me tell you something, man. That is one of the best things about being a magician, being a performer, an entertainer, is touring. It's just so much fun. But then again, I also think about that movie. I don't remember what it's called, but it's I don't even remember who was in it, but I remember seeing it. He's a comedian or something like that, and he goes out on tour, and at first he thinks it's great, and then he realizes, oh shit, I got no choice but to do this, His daughter ends up wanting to go to school or something, so he's got to go out on tour and be funny, and he ends up being a job to him, and, I think with all of my rebellion and everything towards my family and towards my parents and towards my mother and everybody who told me to get a real job, I think eventually it'll bite me in the ass, because who knows, maybe magic will turn into my real job. I'll wake up dreading it. But I hope that doesn't happen. So. But yeah, 2022. If you're listening to this, if you want me to come to a certain city, near you so you can see me, let me know where you want me to go. I'll look into it. Let me know where you are. So. Let's talk wrestling really quickly. I have not been keeping up with it, but I did see parts of Full Gear. Hangman Adam Page winning the title was absolute fucking pure storytelling. It was 2 years in the process. I loved how the Bucks came down and kind of acknowledged that it was his time to win the title, and they stayed out of Omega's way. They wouldn't help him. That was really cool. Bryan Danielson turning heel has been interesting, and I fucking called it. I called it 2 months ago. Jay Lethal with AEW. I told you eventually he was going to be All Elite. I called that shit months ago. I have a feeling that he's going to join the Inner Circle. I have a feeling. I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're going to get him in the Inner Circle. Let's see. Otherwise, Oh yeah, CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. That was one of the best bits of storytelling and promo work I have seen in a very long time. Eddie Kingston needs to be pushed to the fucking moon, and I've been saying that for a while. But if you put somebody who can cut a promo like Eddie Kingston against somebody who can cut a promo like CM Punk, and they're literally going neck and neck with each other, able to keep up with each other, why does that have to be a one-time thing? Eddie Kingston is so underrated, it fucking hurts. Heel or babyface, he's got that New Yorker vibe. He's got that, because look, I've seen people like him out in New York, right? He's got that typical, you're in my bubble, don't fuck with me type thing. He's hard. He's got that hard attitude. Like that Rikers Island type jail vibe, which from what I understand, I believe he did do time at Rikers Island. I don't think that's just a character thing. And look, he could wrestle, right? He's got that Street Fighter, like not like Street Fighter the video game, but he's like that, street brawler type fighting style. But at the same time, he can get technical, and he was able to keep up with Punk. And for a while, I thought Kingston was going to beat Punk. And by the way, I really liked that five-knuckle shuffle. Wow, holy shit. Five-knuckle shuffle tease that Punk did. That was a good image of him, too, with the blood running down, his hair all fucked up. Damn, that was good. It's just such good storytelling. And it's like, at this point, just let them go at each other on a microphone. Just give them microphones. Let them shit talk each other. Like, damn, that was good. But I guess Eddie Kingston was working hurt, so he's going to be out for a little bit getting surgery. But now they're pairing him with MJF, hopefully, because I would love to see promo work between MJF and CM Punk. That right there will sell out a building. Because, granted, yeah, CM Punk, they were putting him against, a couple of nobodies at first, which I will admit I wasn't too excited about him versus Powerhouse Hobbs or, him versus fucking, who the hell was that other guy that he faced? But then, you're getting CM Punk versus Darby, Darby Allin was a great match. CM Punk versus, who the hell did he face before Eddie Kingston? God damn it, why am I drawing a blank on this? Holy shit. Hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. It was CM Punk, Darby Allin for the first match, and then he called out Powerhouse Hobbs, and then after Powerhouse Hobbs, it was... Oh, man. It wasn't anybody from the Dark Order. Wasn't Bobby Fish? Was it Bobby Fish? No, I never faced Bobby Fish. It was somebody. And then he ended up putting a streak on the line, and then they had him against Eddie Kingston. And now they got him against MJF, and I'm like, this is going to be fucking cool. This is going to be interesting. I don't think he's going for a title anytime soon. I also don't even think he wants the title. I really honestly think he's there just to wrestle the young guys, like he said he wanted to do. And, because he said he wants to get into the ring with the majority of the young guys. I don't blame him. It's a lot of dream matches that we can get, We're not going to see Punk versus Jericho. We're not going to see Punk versus Moxley anytime soon. Punk versus Bryan. Now that Bryan is going heel, I think that would be a fucking show and a half. But we'll get there when we get... Ooh, maybe that's what they're doing. I just thought of something. All right, so hold on. MJF says that everybody knows that he should be the one facing Hangman Adam Page for the world title. Bryan Danielson is the number one contender. Punk and MJF are going at each other. What if Bryan Danielson wins the title off of Hangman, which I really honestly think is going to happen. I don't see this reign lasting long. What if Bryan Danielson beats Hangman, becomes the AEW title holder, right? And then MJF and CM Punk, their match ends up being for the number one contender spot. Punk beats MJF, goes on, and then faces Bryan Danielson, maybe at All In. And then it ends up being a babyface CM Punk, which, let's face it, is not going to last too much longer because I think fans are starting to turn on him. Which, how could you? You fucking couldn't stop chanting his name for 7.5 fucking years, and all of a sudden you're getting sick of him? I hate wrestling fans sometimes. But it'll be Bryan Danielson as a heel versus CM Punk as a babyface with no scripts to follow. That could be very, very interesting. And, hey, let's face it. That could be a money match right there. Maybe that's what they'll do. Because I noticed something with AEW. These feuds are not long-lasting. At least some of them aren't, you know? Like, you know, the Moxley-Omega feud didn't really last the longest amount of time. You know, Punk comes in. He doesn't really have a feud with anyone. He's just there to fight people. Bryan Danielson slowly he's turning heel. I think they're going to have him face, Hangman for a while. If he doesn't win against Hangman, I think they're going to have him face Hangman one more time. And then that's going to be it. But it's like, Omega and Hangman, it wasn't really a feud. Christian and Omega, Christian Cage, wasn't really a feud. I mean, it lasted for a little bit, but Christian Cage was more in Impact than anything, defending those titles. The Bucks and Ray Fenix and Pentagon didn't really last the longest. The only one that really lasted the longest was Inner Circle and whatever the fighting the fucking fighting group is. American Top Team or something like that. Yeah, American Top Team with the old guy. That's the only one that's really lasted long. Even then, that I believe that feud is over now too. So, but we'll see what happens. But dude, I'm calling it. I told you, Jay Lethal is in AEW. I have a feeling, and I'm calling it now. All right? I give it 6 months. The Briscoes, all right? The Briscoe brothers. Most likely, let's see. Oh, geez, who else could be coming in? Who else could be going in that's not going to Impact? Marty Scurll, absolutely. He could be coming in. Now that Omega's out, I feel like maybe Marty can come in and try to, sleazebag his way into the Elite. Because I guess Adam Cole, baby, ain't doing it. Or Omega doesn't want him doing it. That'll be a whole feud. And then, let's see, who else? I would say PCO could be a possibility. If he doesn't go to Impact. And, I don't know, man. I would not mind seeing Eric Young in AEW, or Austin Aries in AEW. So, you're probably wondering why I'm not talking about WWE, because I don't fucking care. I am not interested in their product anymore. They haven't put anything good out in a year. More than a year. I'm not interested. So, but to me, AEW is where it's at. If you're a wrestling fan, you're a fan of AEW. If you like sports entertainment, go to the E. So, but guys, I'm going to get going. Listen, I really hope that you guys enjoyed the podcast. Again, I'm sorry for not uploading for the longest time. Check me out on my tour 2022. If you have any questions about it, feel free to inbox me. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys later.